Okay, so today we're continuing with multiplying and dividing signed numbers. Okay, so reminder, if you do not already have this written down from yesterday, I would make sure you have it written down today. So we said when multiplying and dividing two positive numbers, our answer is going to be what? Positive. Good. If you do have it written down, you should be answering these questions for me. If we have two negative numbers, then our answer should be what? Positive. Make sure you write it down. Don't just guess. If you have a negative times a positive or a positive times a negative, then our answer is what? Negative. Good. So for those of you who were not here yesterday and did not get a chance to write this down, go ahead and do so. Okay, so I told you guys that today we're going to be going over dividing fractions. So, give me a second while I grab something real quick. We're going to go over the two methods. So make sure in your notebook you write it just like this. I want you to make sure you have both methods. Because then afterwards, you get to choose which method works best for you. So I see some people writing. You need a pencil? Say something. Write it both down. Y después van a escoger cuál de los dos métodos le funciona a ustedes. Pero quiero empezar por enseñarles los dos. Okay, so we have 1/9 divided by negative 1 1/3. So first thing I'm going to do before I even start with either of my methods, I want to make sure I don't want to work it out with an improper fraction, with a mixed number, sorry. I want to work it out with an improper fraction because that's going to make more sense to me. So I'm going to go ahead and do 1/9 divided by negative, and remember, to turn it into an improper fraction, you have to do the whole number times the denominator, and then whatever you get, you're going to add to the numerator. So multiply and then add. So 1 times 3 gives me what? What is 1 times 3? 3. Plus 1? 4. So it's going to be 4 over 3. So now my new problem is 1/9 divided by negative 4 over 3. So first method. My first method is where we do common denominator. And I apologize if I'm covering it and you can't see. I'm trying my best to make sure everybody can see it. So the first method is common denominator. So this is also something that you can use your counting by sheet. So that sheet that you got yesterday, this will be very helpful for this. So I need to do my common denominator. So the first thing I need to do is figure out what I can use. So I'm going to do my 9 and I'm going to do my 3. I should put the 3 on the top, but it's okay. So I'm going to go ahead and count by 3s. So 3, 6, 9. I already know in my head that 9 goes into 9. So I'm going to stop there. And then I'm going to go ahead and do 9. And there we have a common denominator. Again, make sure for these methods you write down everything. So remember, in order to change the number, para poder cambiar el número, you have to multiply the whole fraction. You can't just change the bottom. No nada más pueden cambiar la parte de abajo. So 9 is fine. I have 1/9. No tengo que cambiar nada ahí. Now I have 4/3. Well, necesito cambiar el 3 para 9. I need to change the 3 to 9. So I have to multiply by 1, 2, 3. Porque esto es como si fuera 3 multiplicado por 1, 3 multiplicado por 2, 3 multiplicado por 3. So I'm going to multiply this whole thing by 3. So what's 4 times 3? 12. And I know he's not the only one that knows it because you have a multiplication sheet. So use your resources. And then 3 times 3 is obviously 9. So there we go. We have 1/9 divided by negative 12/9. So now I can go ahead and work it out. What is a positive divided by a negative? What does it give me? Look at your rule. It gives me a negative. So my answer is going to be negative. Now, because I have the common denominator, I know 9 divided by 9 gives me 1. Then 1 divided by 12, you can either write it as a decimal or you can write it as a fraction. What is 1 divided by 12 would be this. Remember, 1 over 12 is another way to write that kind of division problem. So my answer is negative 1 over 12. So that's the first method. The second method should do the same thing. So method number 2. I'm going to go ahead and write out my problem. So this one is kind of like when we did our changing subtraction. But I like to teach both anyway. So when we do our second method, 1/9 stays the same. Our division is going to change to, what's the opposite of division? Multiplication. So it's going to change to multiplication. And then instead of, well, we can say the opposite, but you're kind of going to flip it. So when I flip my fraction, it would be negative 3 over 4. and then you multiply it across like a multiplication problem. So a positive and a negative gives you a negative. You have to look for it. Don't guess. 1 times 3 gives me 3. And 9 times 4 gives me 36. And then if you simplify it, it gives you negative 1/12, which is the same answer. So you can use either method. I used to like this one, to be honest, but actually, I like this one a lot since I learned how to use it. So make sure you have all of this written down, method 1 and method 2, and we're going to go ahead and move forward. And again, remember, you have your counting by number sheet. You have your multiplication sheet. You have your rules. Use them. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at our first one. So I'm going to use the common denominator method. So I'm going to go ahead and start with 5, 7, and again, I can look at my sheet and I can go, okay, counting by 5. If I count by 5s, I have 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. And then I'm going to do the same thing for 7. I'm going to go to my 7 counting by numbers, and I'm going to go 7, 14, 21, 28, 35. Oh, there I go, 35 and 35. Use your resources, guys, just like I'm showing you. I could easily go, ooh, I know what the answer is, but no. We check to make sure. Now I'm going to use my common denominator. So for 5, I'm going to multiply by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So voy a multiplicar 4 por 5. I just lost my number. By 7. Y entonces el otro, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to multiply by 5. So I know 5 times 4 gives me what? 20 over 35. Divided by, same thing. What is 4 times 7?
27. I mean 28.
Over 35. And if you're not sure, again, you do the same thing. You go 4 times tables, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You check. So now same thing. I'm going to do, well, 35 divided by 35 gives you what? It gives you 1. It gives you 1. So I'm not even going to write that down. So we're good here. So then I have 20 divided by 28. And yes, you can simplify from there. I'm probably going to simplify by 4. So it gives me 5 over 7. I want you to find the common denominator for the second one. If you don't want to use that method and you want to use method 2, you can work out the whole problem using method 2. Remember, if you can't read it up there, it's on your computer. Use your resources. Use your counting by number sheet.
I might end up being a class that is these students. And laminating. I might do a class that, so they can have it on their desk, apart from the one that's inside the notebook.
No se preocupen por el primero. Don't do the first one on your screen. Hagan solamente el segundo. Ya el primero lo hicimos juntos. El segundo es el que van a hacer ustedes. You're only doing the second one.
Rewriting the first one on their screen. Did you get it? Yeah. Vamos a buscar un common denominator. Okay? Acuérdate, puedes usar tu papel. Te vas a buscar los números que entran al cero y los que van a 10. Okay? How do you do it? You do okay? So I had planned to do this divide and decimal. I told them.
Okay, so do me a favor. Eyes up here for a second. Okay, so can I see a raise of hands for how many people feel more comfortable with method 1? So si prefieres el primer método, levánteme la mano. Ok. Y si prefieren el segundo método, levántenme la mano. Okay, so I'm going to do method 1 first. And then I'll do a quick method 2. So voy a hacer el primer método primero. Y entonces después hago el segundo bien rapidito, ¿ok? So vamos a empezar por la primera parte. Y quiero que me presten atención. So this is what I'm saying. Remember your first step. And if you have to write this down, you can. Si necesitan escribir los pasos para que no se les vaya a olvidar, lo pueden hacer. So, el primer paso va a ser find common denominator. Porque puede ser que cuando lo empieces a hacer tú solo, se te olvidan cuáles son los pasos que tienes que tomar. Okay, you might forget or do a different step first. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take my counting by number sheet. This is going to be my, that's not what I meant. It's going to be my new best friend. And I'm going to look for 6. And I'm going to go, okay, 6. So it's 6, 12, 18, 24, and 30. Oh, in my head, I'm already thinking, okay, 10 is counting by 10, so I think I found one. I'm going to do 10. So 10, 20, 30. And I'm going to circle. So lo que yo he visto antes es que tienen la manía de voy a empezar por el primer número y entonces voy a hacer una lista de 500 números. No. I would say go to about 5 numbers and then stop and start the next one because you may have already found the number. So why are you going to have a list of 20 numbers? You're wasting more time finding the numbers when you may have already found it. So I have 30 and 30. So I'm going to go ahead and do my second step. I found my common denominator. Now I need to fix my fractions. I know it sounds silly, but sometimes we forget. So I'm going to go ahead and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to multiply this whole fraction by 5. So 7 times 5 gives me what? 35. So I have 35 over 30 divided by negative, and I'm going to do 1, 2, 3. I'm going to multiply this whole fraction by 3. What is 13 times 3? Is that something you know off the top of your head? 39 maybe? Okay, so if I did 13 times 3, it gives me 3 times 3 is 9. 1 times 3 is 3, so 39 it is. Negative 39 over 30. So I fixed my fractions. Third step. I'm going to, is it negative or is it positive? Is it negative or positive? That's right, it's going to be negative because I have a positive and a negative gives me a negative answer. Again, make sure this gets down in your notebook because if you're having some trouble, this might help you. Final step. What is the last thing I need to do? Am I done? What do I have to do? Before I even simplify, I just have to solve it, right? Solve it. Solve it. That's it. And then you simplify if that's the case. Huh? We can do that. I usually do that, but everybody's all like, vertical answer. Okay, so 30 divided by 30 gives us what? It gives us 1. So 35 divided by 39, I'm going to go ahead and do 35 divided by 39. And that's it. I'm kind of rewriting the first over the second. He's looking at me over there, and I'm like, okay. Okay, so my plans were to move on to something different, but I don't want to move on if we're still feeling not okay. Okay, so give me a thumbs up if you're feeling great. I know what I'm doing. I can move on to something else. Give me a thumb in the middle if you're like, I may need a little bit more, I'm not too sure. And then give me a thumbs down if you're like, oh my God, I need so much more. I'm so confused. I've got almost everybody giving me thumbs, except for mis 3 varones en el medio que no me han dado nada. Sí, sé cómo hacerlo. No estoy seguro. Oh my God, qué tragedia.
Daniel.
I don't know what that means. Daniel, eso no es un dedo. Todo el mundo está siendo honesto. Okay, so I got 2 thumbs up and then we've got lots of thumbs in the middle. So I don't feel comfortable moving on to something completely new the last little bit of class. Because I don't think it would be fair. So we're going to do 2 more practice problems and then we'll end it there. Yes, sir. Oh, okay. When we get to one that has simplification, I'll show you. Okay, so I've got 2 more. I want you to do the first one. Whichever method. Cualquiera de los 2 métodos. Escoge uno. Hazlo en tu libreta. Yes, I have a plan to do this, but I don't know that I want to right now. My 2 gentlemen over there, are you done? Are you missing a pencil? Are you done? Huh? So like you're sitting there watching us and you don't say anything? Like, unbelievable. How old are we again? 2? Where we go? I don't know what I'm saying. Use your words. Jesus Christ, I said work out the first one. Do you know how to work out the first one? Were you paying attention to that? Were you writing them down? No, 12 goes away, right? Because I don't see the one written down. So we gotta use our common denominator.
Voy a cambiar tu división negative y a este número le voy a poner el negativo y lo voy a dar vuelta. Ahora voy a representar primero que todo es un negativo. Le vas a dar no, tenemos que practicar la tapa de la tabla. ¿Cuál método prefieres? No, pero prefiero una eso sí. Ok. ¿Me ayudas? ¿La segunda? Encontraste el denominador común, es 15, ¿verdad? Este número lo voy a multiplicar por 3, ¿verdad? Este número lo voy a multiplicar por 5, ¿verdad? Porque quiero que haga 15 acá abajo. Entonces, 3 por 8, ¿cuánto por 3? 4. Positivo o negativo. ¿Qué me queda? Oh, you did opposite and then flip it. So remember, como flip it and flip it, you still keep the sign. Careful, ends up just being one. So it will be a 3 over 5. Other people know that over 5, right? So then it would be, what's a negative and a negative? ¿Y por qué no? So do you have to simplify it? Now, if my answer had been a negative, 35 over 15. When it happens, I know what number goes into those six. Number six. So I'm basically going to do divide by 5. What's 35 divided by 5? What times 5 equals 35? 1 times 5, 2 times 5, 3 times 5, 4 times 5, 5 times 5. That's 7. And then what is 2 divided by 5? This is a simple 5, and then by turning it equal to 1/3, because 3 goes into 7. We kind of this one left of them. Okay? So we know that. It's 35. Okay, so for here, let's cancel out that, right? And then we write the negative sign. The negative and the negative usually. So then I would just write the circle down. What's wrong with that? It already has coming down. The letter is on 5. What divided by what? You got it right? No, it's right. Yeah. That's a really easy one. But I wanted to see if you guys could get it. Okay, so let's take a look at this one. I think we should have had enough time to do at least the first one. And if not, then this is a big problem. Okay, perfeccionista. Okay, so number 1, make sure your eyes are up here. You're checking what I have with what you have. First up, common denominator. So I have my 5 and I have my 3. Who can tell me what are the multiples of 5? Can I stop there? Didn't I say like around 4, 5? Like this is already 6. What about 3? Can I stop? Okay, so once you get to a number that matches 1 on the top, don't keep going. You're wasting time, like literally. So I have 15 and I have 15. Okay? Next step is fix my fractions. So I know my 5, I'm going to multiply.
Pardon the interruption. We are now lifting the salt block down. We are now lifting the salt block down. Thank you for everyone's cooperation. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and multiply my first fraction. I'm going to multiply the first fraction by 1, 2, 3. What is negative 8 times 3?
24.
Thank you. And what is 5 times 3?
15.
15. You skipped a step. And then for the second one, I'm going to multiply by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So negative 5 times 5 is 25. And 3 times 5, 15. Next step is solve. So what? Oh, I knew I forgot something. What is my sign? What is negative divided by negative? Positive. So 15 divided by 15 gives me 1. So I'm just going to go ahead and cross them out. And 24 divided by 25. Notice how all you're doing is writing the numerator from the first one over the numerator from the second one. Once you get here, you ask yourself, do I need to simplify? If I don't, then I'm done. Second problem, even if you didn't get here, first step, common denominator. Do I have a common denominator? Yes, I do. So I don't need to look for one. What is 2 divided by 2? It is 1. What is a negative divided by a positive? A negative. What is 1 divided by 1? 1. Negative 1 over 1 is basically negative 1. That's it. You finished. Easiest problem I could have given you. Probably the tricky one, too. Because you're all thinking it takes like 10 more steps than it does. We're going to stop here. We're not going to keep going because we're not going to do a whole new something the last 25 minutes of class. I'm going to go ahead and erase. Make sure you have it down. Everybody good? Have it written down? We will pick up on this lesson tomorrow. So we'll finish what we have left tomorrow. Go ahead and click on the link for your classwork. I always like to keep both because not everybody feels comfortable using the data.
Yeah, it's just been a while back.
And that's fine, a lot of people. Make sure you have these two out. I'm going to come around and staple and glue. Oh, because you were taking your quiz, you guys were taking your quiz yesterday, so I'm not going to that one, I'm going to staple and then the back page.
Both of them work.
I need Karen Kwamakateco to the office for a message, please.
Okay, she's coming, thank you. Karen, don't get the paper towel. Just pull it up over the bucket. Okay, Annabelle, I'll see you tomorrow, okay?
Yeah.
Remind them about the
Education is similar to multiply. biggest concern was the parentheses.
Oh, yeah.
Multiply.
Don't forget that when you have the two multiplications together, the two parentheses together, that means you're multiplying.
Yeah, I went ahead and did
And you have it stapled on the back too.
again must be fresh. But where did the positive, right? Why?
Yeah, is there anyone?
Why negative and why positive together? This one? Oh, like we got problems? Right. Yeah. Check that one too. Are we done?
Oh, no, I need to go, I'm sorry. Oh, the other one? Because the ones that were teaching us yesterday, I forgot to get on the sheet.
The only way I'm gonna answer that's negative is if one of these is negative and one of these is positive. So this one is positive, so this one here must be right. The only way that I'm gonna answer on that kind of Friday is if one is negative and one is positive. The only way. So if both of them are positive, if both positive, then it's positive. Oh, yeah, the negative answer is a positive, one is negative. Right? Keep that in mind.
You don't need them. This is with the number. When you have, yes, but when you have something in a parentheses like that, it's already implied that it's a multiple. Unless you have this, then it's gonna be, another. But if you have nothing, it's multiple. So you already have a multiple. If you ever wanna use it, they have it on those on the head. I might even just. I'm sorry.
One is positive, and one is only right. So the outside margin, positive. The inside margin has to be right. This is the only way to do it. Only way to do it. They did the same signs. That's the only way to do it. One is positive, one is negative. So, make sure you have the phone first.
Oh, yeah. Did you just? I'll be right back. Okay. Okay, I will because this is a few of the don't take me to the
Okay, so this. The silence. Always saying stuff. I would say. What do I do first? But I think you have to, you always have unless you have more than this. No, I think I have no one.
I was like, is that a hand? Is that not a hand?
First number. First number divided by the second number. First number divided by a second number. It's literally that easy. So it would be -14.
Make sure if you have questions, this is the time to be asking them.
Yeah, so you would like, yeah, you have like -14 / whatever that is. That's how you write that.